Aha, I've got it. Remakes! Let's take this old thing and make it again, but shinier and better. I made it work! Listen, Sonic the Hedgehog is no stranger to terrible remakes, remasters, and even re-releases. Sonic Colors Ultimate, Sonic on the GBA, Sonic Adventure DX, the list goes on and on. But let's say we could remake one Sonic game from the ground up, retaining all of what made it great, but also improving all of its flaws. Well, what game would we pick? For the purpose of this video, let's keep it to mainline titles only, but God, I want a Sonic R remake. This includes these games. Anything after Unleashed seems pretty redundant. I mean, Generations and Colors have already had remakes, and anything after that is just new enough to the point where they don't need a remake or even a remaster. An argument could be made for any of these games, and I'd love to hear them, so please comment down below. With all that yap out the way, this is the definitive Sonic remake that we need. Come on! Let's start with an obvious pick, or should I say picks. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. The Adventure Duology would work incredibly well as remakes. With an asterisk. Let's tackle the elephant in the room. These games are janky as hell, but they're incredibly fun. They are due remakes, because on a conceptual level they are fantastic, from their more mature stories to their varied yet engaging gameplay. But they are not perfect in any sense, except maybe the OST. For example, I think in a potential remake, both of these games' physics and control systems could be tightened up massively, and consistent across both titles, whilst also retaining the design of the original. No boost formula hallways or whatever the hell Frontiers was doing here. Huh? And I think the mech stages for Gamma, Tails, and Eggman could use some tweaks too, utilising more modern control schemes and mechanics from modern day shooters. And no, it does not mean letting Tails Tails, wait! For example, to speed them up, imagine incorporating movement options like running or sliding akin to the Titanfall or COD games. Oh, and fix the Emerald Radar, damn it! These games are considered the standard for Sonic, but they're still in need of a complete redo. Because for everything that they get right, they are still pretty flawed, although most of that can be attributed to their age. So, give the game interesting, modern visuals with new designs that are reminiscent of the original titles, and fix up some of the gameplay elements to fit modern standards. And I think we'd be pretty golden. But remember that asterisk. Well, I think this should be the definitive Sonic remake. However, this is the game Sonic Team could not afford to fuck up. So we probably don't need it now, but we will in the future, so for that I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. Wow. Sonic Heroes! Recently we were actually teased with the possibility of a UE5 Sonic Heroes remake. And I don't doubt that this game would be a fantastic time, but I just don't think it's the definitive Sonic remake that we need currently. Heroes is a very flawed title, but it does have some great ideas and concepts, and visually the game still holds up to a degree. Whilst on a technical level this game does look like a product of its time, I think the art style of the game leans more into that vibrant surrealism of the classic titles, leaving it looking somewhat fresh even to this day. Where I think this game could benefit a remake from is within its narrative presentation. Sure, the adventure games had multi-interlinking stories, but their gameplay variety justified their existence. But here, it's just the same gameplay loop 4 times! So instead of 4 multi-interlinked narratives, I think this potential remake could utilize one singular linear narrative interjecting each team's perspective onto one another. But all in all, I think purely within the context of the current state of the franchise, I just don't think a Heroes remake is what we currently need. But I still think it has enough flaws to the point where it could really benefit from one. Besides, I'm a sucker for all of this, so I'd still eat it up. 7.5 out of 10.
Well done, faker.
Sonic 06. Hear me out here. A full-blown remake of this game sounds ridiculous, and likely wouldn't happen just because of the sheer stain this game left on the franchise. In an instance where we're able to get one, I truly believe this title could be in the running for the definitive Sonic remake. Let's get another elephant in the room covered. This game sucks. It's janky, broken, and other synonyms for a terrible game. The story is questionable too, with some morally iffy choices. But through all of that, man, I love this game. It's been beaten to death at this point, but 06 truly had some great potential, and if it were great on all fronts, it likely would have changed the future of Sonic for the better. It's an advancement on the adventure formula, and conceptually, a lot of the gameplay elements really work. And I believe that every character plays differently from one another to justify their existence beyond the pure story. So, fix this story up, but don't change it entirely, just all of the weird stuff. Improve the game graphically too, smooth out the jank and make some minor tweaks to how each character plays. But all things considered, I think a remake in an official capacity would be incredible. And I think in the grand scheme of Sonic remakes, I wouldn't be afraid to consider it a necessary, definitive remake that this franchise needs, both from core fans and the casual audience. Also, if it was bad, that would just be the funniest thing. 9 out of 10. Sonic Unleashed. Take one look at this game and tell me it needs a full-blown remake. Now, listen to me when I tell you, I think it does. I'll keep this brief, but Sonic Unleashed is half flawed. But if they were to speed up and overall improve the Hedgehog gameplay, whilst retaining the utter speed and adrenaline of the day stages, I could see an argument being made for an Unleashed remake. But does it really need a remake over the adventure games or 06? With those games, they're so outdated and janky in areas that they benefit from a remake a lot more than this title. Then again, I think Sega have lost the source code for this game, so they kind of have to remake it. So let's not pretend that Sonic fans, me, don't want an Unleashed remake. It's one of the most requested games Sega has ever received. But is it the definitive remake that we need? Probably not. 7 out of 10. So, to conclude, it might sound ridiculous to say this, but I think the definitive remake that we currently need is Sonic 06. But out of these games, or perhaps even a non-mainline title, what game would you pick? Please tell me in the comments down below, I would love to hear it. Anyway, that's it from me. If you want to hear me discuss the trend of horrible Sonic renders, then you can click over here. Trust me, that's a video you don't want to miss. But remember to like, comment, and subscribe, but you've heard that one on YouTube a million times. Bye for now.